For the past 7 years, I, a 29-year-old woman, have been happily married to my husband, Henry. Our marriage is wonderful in nearly every way, except for the constant negativity brought by his sister, Lila. She has a toxic, manipulative personality that casts a shadow over our lives. When I first met Lila, I genuinely liked her. However, my opinion of her quickly shifted as her true nature emerged. She's deceitful, critical, and thrives on creating drama. I've spent years trying to stay on her good side, despite her behavior. In the past, Henry dated Lila's best friend when he was 17, but he ended the relationship, feeling pressured by Lila to stay with her. At 23, when Henry was single, Lila tried to set him up with another friend, but he refused. She went to their parents, tearfully insisting she wanted Henry to marry someone she approved of, but they dismissed her complaints during their heated disputes. While Henry and I were falling in love, his parents were supportive, but Lila always treated me with icy disdain. Whenever I was around, she'd bring up Henry's exes out of nowhere, mentioning how well they were doing and suggesting he reconnect with them. This behavior persisted for a while. Henry found it odd and repeatedly asked her to stop mentioning his exes. Others noticed her strange actions too. Lila would get furious and belittle me, accusing me of jealousy and saying Henry deserved better. She'd conveniently run into one of Henry's exes and invite them to family dinners, claiming it was a chance encounter. Although she doesn't follow me on Instagram, she obsessively checks my public account, often being the first to view my stories. If a man commented on my photos, she'd complain to Henry, falsely claiming I was posting inappropriate images. Henry and I would laugh off her accusations. When Henry and I decided to move in together, Lila tried to convince him to leave me, saying I had too many flaws, and she could find him someone better. Her words stung, especially since I'd always been kind to her. Her treatment of me worsened after our engagement. When we announced our engagement, everyone congratulated us, but Lila remained silent. Suddenly, she stood up and stormed out of the gathering. Later, she called Henry, crying and screaming that she deserved to be the first to know about his engagement, since she was closest to him. She sent me a near-threatening message, warning me about how to treat her brother, claiming she'd always been the only woman in his life. Her message gave me chills, and I left it unread, knowing it would infuriate her further. After that, Lila began ignoring me whenever we met. Oddly, she insisted on being involved in all the wedding planning, like attending my dress fittings and bridal shower. Despite my future mother-in-law and Henry calling her out, her criticism of my choices escalated, openly expressing her disapproval. Her behavior reached a peak one day when she overheard me discussing table centerpieces with my future mother-in-law. Lila mocked my taste, saying it lacked elegance and that this was why Henry should have married someone better. That was my breaking point. I snapped, telling her she was uninvited from the wedding and that I was done with her constant harassment. Stunned, as if she never expected me to stand up to her, Lila was furious, even when my mother-in-law supported me. Lila later called Henry, complaining that I'd humiliated her and demanding he control me as his future wife. Henry firmly backed my decision, warning her she wouldn't attend the wedding unless she apologized. She sent me a reluctant apology via text. I left it unread, exhausted from wedding planning, and unwilling to engage in her drama. She did attend the wedding, as I didn't want her to criticize us later. The wedding's pastel and pink theme was well received by all guests, except Lila. She arrived in a black floor-length dress and veil, looking like she was attending a funeral. We were shocked. During the reception, Lila went around telling guests she was grieving the loss of her brother to another woman. Henry confronted her about her inappropriate attire, but she played the victim, insisting she could wear what she wanted and accusing me of being controlling. Her scene-causing became unbearable, and my in-laws eventually asked her to leave. It was mortifying for me. Since then, I've avoided her. When I gave birth to our son Noah, I banned Lila from being near him. She protested, but my in-laws supported my decision, understanding why I wanted her away from my child. 2 years ago, Lila suffered a miscarriage with her then-boyfriend James, which devastated her. It was a heartbreaking time for everyone, and Henry and I felt sympathy for her, especially as parents ourselves. After her miscarriage, we softened our stance, allowing her to visit and spend time with Noah. Surprisingly, despite her treatment of me, she was kind to our son. At first, she seemed to have changed, but her old habits soon resurfaced. She constantly complained about her life, blamed others for her problems, and never admitted fault. When she got married this year, she invited everyone except us. Henry was shocked as we thought our relationship had improved. When confronted, Lila claimed she excluded me because I'd disrupt her wedding. I called her, hurt and confused, as I'd never done anything to her. She admitted she'd worn black to our wedding intentionally and feared I'd do the same to ruin hers. Furious, I told Henry how manipulative she was. After discussing it with his parents, Henry told Lila neither he nor his parents would attend or fund her wedding. Lila sobbed, blaming me for the fallout. Her fiancé, James, told her she had no right to blame me as she'd admitted her own wrongdoing. Lila brushed it off, saying I should move on since our wedding was years ago. She later apologized, begging for forgiveness so her parents would fund her wedding. Despite my reservations, I forgave her, wanting to move forward. Her wedding to James went smoothly, and we all attended. Less than 6 months later, Lila showed up at our house, complaining about her failing marriage. We let her stay for a few days, during which she ranted endlessly about James. They were struggling to conceive, and she blamed him entirely. When not complaining, she fixated on our lives, inventing problems. For example, I go to the gym most mornings before work. If I'm running late, I bring work clothes to shower and change after my workout. Lila noticed this and questioned why I needed to shower or go to the gym. I explained I liked staying fit and didn't want to go to work sweaty, but she'd nod suspiciously. During a lunch conversation, my mother-in-law mentioned a friend's divorce due to infidelity. Lila interrupted to ask Henry if we'd signed a prenup. We froze, staring at her. Henry bluntly said we didn't need one, as we both earn well. Lila scoffed, warning him about being blindsided by cheaters. Offended, I demanded she explain herself. She accused me of meeting someone because I carried extra clothes, claiming it was her duty as Henry's sister to warn him. Her accusations stunned me. My in-laws stepped in, telling her to stop meddling. Without hesitation, Lila suggested our son Noah might not be Henry's, as he didn't resemble him. Henry's face turned red with fury. I'd never seen him so angry. He told Lila she wasn't a mother because she didn't deserve to be, and her child was better off in heaven than with her. He called her a pathetic loser who projected her failures onto others while her husband worked tirelessly. Lila, in tears, looked to James for support, but he stayed silent. Henry walked away, seething. I comforted him, and my in-laws calmed him down. He apologized for Lila's comments about Noah, and I was relieved he'd defended me so fiercely. He apologized to James, but ignored Lila. After that, we cut contact with her, barring her from our lives. My in-laws agreed she'd gone too far. A year passed peacefully until 2 months ago when I discovered I was pregnant again. It was unexpected, and we were thrilled. We decided to announce it at Henry's birthday party, hosted by his parents in their backyard with close friends and family. To our shock, Lila showed up uninvited, having heard about the event. She hugged Henry, apologizing for their last encounter. Henry told her to apologize to me for attacking my character. She did, claiming she'd been in therapy and realized her behavior was wrong. Skeptical, but wanting to keep the peace, I nodded politely. My in-laws assured us they'd remove her if she caused trouble. Henry wanted to avoid a scene, so we let it go. Lila seemed overly cheerful, laughing and mingling, which felt out of character. During the cake cutting, Henry gave a heartfelt speech about being the luckiest man, grateful for our years together. I blushed, feeling as in love as when we first met. Then we announced our pregnancy. The crowd cheered, my mother cried, and my father-in-law toasted us. Everyone asked about baby names, excited for us, except Lila. She looked stunned and turned away, visibly upset. I worried she'd ruin the moment, but was distracted by guests. While helping my in-laws with lunch, my family insisted I rest. Lila approached, smiling, and offered me a plate, saying she wanted to make amends for her past behavior. I thanked her politely. As I was about to eat, I noticed shrimp on the plate, which I'm severely allergic to. Surprised, I set it aside and got my own food. James congratulated me on the pregnancy and asked why I wasn't eating. I explained Lila had given me shrimp, likely by mistake. He offered to take the plate since he liked shrimp. I agreed and moved on. 5 minutes later, James began coughing and choking. Everyone froze as he collapsed, pointing to the plate. Henry and Lila rushed to him. An ambulance was called, and he was taken to the hospital. Lila, sobbing, glared at me, asking if I'd given James my plate. I confirmed I had. At the hospital, we learned James had been poisoned. Realizing the plate was meant for me, I nearly fainted, fearing for my unborn child. My in-laws stayed with us, shaken. I was terrified to tell them the plate was meant for me, given to me by Lila. If this became an investigation, I'd have to tell the police the truth. I felt guilty for giving James the plate and feared what Lila might do next. I didn't want her near me or my children. Update 1. Thank you for the overwhelming support. I wrote this with trembling hands and haven't slept. I feel responsible for James's poisoning and regret not discarding the plate. Henry thinks I'm just anxious, unaware of Lila's actions. I agree with comments suggesting I discuss this with my family. My in-laws have security cameras around their house, which should show Lila giving me the plate. I'll talk to them tonight and update. Update 2. I'm grateful for my incredible in-laws. Over dinner with Henry and my in-laws present, I explained how Lila gave me the shrimp plate, which James ate, causing his poisoning. Their shock mirrored mine. I shared my fears about Lila's intentions, especially toward my unborn child. My mother-in-law suggested checking the security footage. Henry was furious, but silent, processing the betrayal. The footage clearly showed Lila handing me the plate and James's reaction. The evidence was undeniable. My in-laws were horrified by their daughter's actions, and Henry struggled with his anger. We couldn't fathom why she'd do this. My in-laws decided to share the footage with the police. Henry and my father-in-law will visit James to discuss pressing charges once he recovers. I feel immense guilt for giving James the plate and am anxious about his reaction. I can't eat or sleep, but I'll update with any developments. Update 3. It's been a month and I'm overwhelmed as a pregnant woman. Lila was arrested after the footage was given to the police. She confessed immediately, not denying the accusations. She broke down, crying. Henry told James everything, who was as shocked as we were. He encouraged James to press charges against Lila for her malicious act. James, now recovered, not only pressed charges but also filed for divorce. Lila begged my in-laws for forgiveness, revealing she's pregnant and claiming they should help her for their grandchild's sake. My father-in-law firmly told her to face the consequences, and my mother-in-law, though heartbroken, agreed her actions were unforgivable. The police found evidence Lila tampered with the food to harm me, which backfired on James. She faces charges for endangering life, causing harm, and food tampering. Lila claimed it was my fault, but James is determined to hold her accountable. Her trial is upcoming, and I doubt she'll escape punishment. Noah and I are okay. He's unaware of his aunt's actions, but Henry and I plan to explain the truth to him carefully. My pregnancy is monitored with bi-weekly ultrasounds, and we're keeping the baby's gender a surprise. My parents are protective, urging therapy for my mental health. As I'm paranoid about eating food, I didn't prepare myself. Henry supports me through this fear. I'll update with significant developments. Update 4. 8 months later, Lila is in prison, found guilty on all charges. My in-laws shared that during her trial, she admitted to years of jealousy, wanting Henry to marry one of her friends. When he chose me, she harassed me, resenting an outsider marrying her brother. At Henry's birthday, she planned to announce her pregnancy, but felt we stole her moment with our news. Driven by jealousy and pregnancy hormones, she mixed rat poison into my food, intending to hospitalize me, not harm the baby. She argued for leniency, claiming I poisoned James by giving him the plate. The judge rejected her pleas. Lila is now out of our lives for a long time. James is divorced and free, and we include him in family events. He reassured me I wasn't at fault for giving him the plate, easing my guilt. Our daughter was born, bringing joy to our lives. Noah loves being a big brother, and their bond warms our hearts. My parents and in-laws have supported us through this ordeal. Thank you for following our story.